Hello, I'm Bob Rich, Executive Director of Placer Arts. Placer Arts is the Arts Council of Placer County, and our mission is to be a catalyst for the arts and humanities throughout Placer County, to encourage the arts, bring programs and classes and education throughout the county, and stimulate the quality of life.
Hello and welcome. I'm Gia McNutt, and I'm one of the 77 artists on this year's Placer Arts Studios tour. And welcome to episode 2 of this series that is to promote the 23rd annual Placer Arts Studio Tour. The purpose of this series is to give you an up-close and personal chance to visit with some of the artists on the studio tour, to learn a little bit more about their art and some of the other artists and art on the tour. As well, we'll be going over key dates and other events associated with the tour, which I'm sure you'll want to know about. So without any further ado, I would love to introduce my 3 guests today, and I'm going to start by asking each one of them to say a little bit about themselves. So I'd like to start, well, first I'm just going to say welcome to Jay Stargard, Sonia Hamilton, and Patty Parapandong. And Jay, if you'd like to start letting people know what you do and who you are.
Great. I'm Jay Stargard, and I do stainless steel, bronze, and copper. I am a TIG welder, and I also use some of the wood and water and stone in my work also. And it's my goal to make inspiring art that makes us feel good.
Hello and welcome to our program. I'm a watercolorist. I'm a local watercolorist, but I got my start in San Francisco as a young child. Did the San Francisco scene for a long time, moved after being in the peninsula for 40 years, moved to Auburn in 2000, and I found something absolutely astounding, and that was Auburn has a much more viable art scene than the San Francisco Bay Area. So I can't tell you how happy I was to come up here.
Wonderful.
So I do watercolor, I'm a teacher, I'm an author, I'm an art show judge. I do a lot of things. I have a degree in art and a degree in teaching, but I strictly do watercolor, although I can do many other mediums.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Patty. Oh, there's the camera. Patty Parapandong. I've lived in Auburn since 1978, and it's a wonderful town. It was recommended because of its beautiful foothills and the colors and the variety of the water and the canyons. Let's see now, I graduated from Boston University and came out here shortly thereafter, and I too have taught. My main teacher was my mother, who was an artist in Massachusetts, and since then I've studied with Juan Pena a little bit here, and now I do enjoy teaching kids and adults. I was an art docent for many years in the Bowman School, and currently teach at St. Joseph's School. I'm in my 22nd year there, but I love to do plein air painting. I love the local scenery. I also do block prints. Lately I've been doing some assemblages using found objects and having fun putting them together, and they take on a personality of their own, and I just really enjoy it. I'm learning more about how to use the metal with that, but oil painting is my favorite, but watercolor is more portable, so I do about equal parts watercolor and oil.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to start by having a look at the piece that you brought here to today, Jay, and tell us about it, and maybe even tell us a little bit about how you do this amazing artwork.
Okay, the piece that I brought today is in my Transformational series, which I just completed, and there's 9 pieces in the series, and it has been inspired by some time-lapse photography that my son did up at Donner in the train tunnels, in the graffiti tunnels there. And they did this amazing where they light steel wool on fire and spin it and then do the time-lapse photography. And I was finding a way to blend more of my family into my artwork so that it's more of a blend now. It's a new phase in my career, and blending the family more instead of it being so separate. So he took these pictures and I fell in love with them, and I was so inspired. And at the same time, there is these amazing butterflies that are breeding and living on my porch and in my passion flowers. So, and at the same time, I'm going through a huge transition in what I was doing as an artist and now what I am doing. So this piece is just a culmination of all of that, this whole series. And so the butterflies are hand-drawn and then plasma cut out. And then the whole piece is combined with the bronze and the stainless with those big moving circles, and all about transformation of our lives and getting to be conscious of that and love the whole process going through it.
Jay, do you have large pieces and small pieces? What size are you working with those?
I do. The largest in the series is about 53 inches in diameter. So
Well,
it's
that's
a
pretty
big
big.
one. I know, it's a big
Heavy.
one.
Wow.
And the smallest is about 9 inches in diameter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they're all price ranges. And so,
Excellent.
I know, that makes it really, really fun.
And your work is done with, you know, a welding, a torch, and you have on a helmet, and this is pretty heavy duty work. How did you get into doing this type of art?
My dad welds, and he was a veterinarian, and then he retired, and this is what he just does for absolute fun. So he asked me, I had gone down when the kiddos were little. I had about a 6-month-old baby and a 3-year-old, and we were down there in the driveway, and my dad said, "Hey, your sister just came and built a mailbox, and you want to try to weld?" And you know, it was just kind of poking me like, "Your sister did it, like, you know, come on." So I was like, "Sure." So I handed the baby to my mom, and the 3-year-old took off after her, and they went in, and I suited up for the first time, sat down at the weld table, went under the hood and welded, and it was something that I could just do. And I pushed back from the table and I said, "This is it. I'm in. This is
Wow.
it."
How many years ago was that?
12.
Wow. So you've really
12 and a half,
done an
yeah.
amazing amount of work. And we'll find out more about all that as we go on
Yeah.
today.
And I have to tell you, I remember Jay had, I think it was your first show. You were in Meadow Vista.
Yes, with your daughter.
Oh,
yes.
She was,
So,
and,
yes.
and so I
this
met,
is so
I met,
fun.
I met Jay. My daughter and my husband took a welding class and met Jay, and he says, "Oh, you have to go see what she's doing because she's a really talented young woman." And I bought a little tree that has little
Crystals tied on the
on
the
the
Christmas
ends.
trees.
And it was one of these trees.
That fit together.
Yes.
Mild steel.
I want you to know you've come a long way, baby. This is wonderful.
Thanks. I know. And Sonia, you were such an amazing supporter of my work from the very beginning, and I'm so grateful still.
Oh, you're
and
welcome.
your work is all over my house too, which is so wonderful.
Wonderful. Well, Sonia, tell us a little bit about the pieces that you have here with us
Yes,
today.
I often work out on location, and when I can't, I take photographs of the location where I am. And so I have the autumn scene. It's kind of an autumn scene. It's just the beginning of autumn, and that's at the Bear River. It's sort of near the campground, and the sun was coming through behind one batch of rock and forest, and you can see the sunlight coming through and illuminating some of the trees and the water. I like to do water. I do a lot of water. The other one that I brought is it's a combination of a village in Spain and also in France. I teach almost every year abroad in Europe, and I put the two together. So the pots on the wall on the right are from Spain. There was a potter that was up some stairs, and you could go into the shop. But they have all these wonderful old arches in medieval towns, so I put them together, and that's where that one came from.
Oh, I love it.
It was fun. It was wonderful to be there. And when you can't sit there for a long time, then you take photographs, and then I moved several photographs, put them together, so it looks like, oh, it's an old wall. It doesn't have to have a place.
No. It's your right of interpretation.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I can move walls.
Creation.
I can
Absolutely.
I can make the water flow in another direction.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely. I love it. So Patty, tell us about the work that you have here with us today.
Well, I brought one of my kayak series, and the first one that I did, I actually was across the street from Guy's place. Let's see, what's Guy's last name? Anyway, he's the Auburn, what is it? The kayak place, the Quonset hut that's on Lincoln Way there, right at Lincoln and 49.
Right as you get to the top of the
Yes,
canyon.
yes, right, yes. Anyway, he saw me painting, and we struck up a conversation and ended up trading that first painting for a kayak. So that was a nice.
Do you use it?
Oh, yes.
I mean, besides as a subject for painting?
Yes, oh, yes, yes.
In
It's
the
not-
water?
Yes, yes.
It's
yes.
very nice.
Yes,
It's fun.
and then since then we've gotten another one, so it's a
cool.
family thing that we do. Prompted by me going out painting one day, but he lets me go around the back, and I can do that one is around the back of the shop, and there's actually a lot more interesting compositions back there, and I can move them around if I want to. I can rearrange them, but I love just the randomness and the different textures of the fence and the horizontal and vertical of them being stacked and leaned, and the grass coming up. It's just a fun thing for me to do, to go and paint anywhere, but the kayak shop was
And it's
has
so
been
colorful.
Nice. It's very colorful, and I love color.
Yep.
I exaggerate, have been accused of exaggerating the color.
Good
But
for you.
I sometimes
right.
take a photo before I leave, but I don't generally work from photos. But I find that my painting looks more, my painting looks even more like my memory of the place than the photo does. Somehow I must see those colors. But the lower one, the watercolor, that's where I park when I go to work at Old Town Gallery. Sonia and I are both members. Jay's a former member. So we get that nice view of Auburn from the 8-hour parking lot. And one day I decided to go back and catch it in the afternoon light. And so, and I've made things look a little taller, but once again, you get to move your pots from one wall to another,
absolutely.
from one country to another, and I get to elongate my buildings. And so that's our duty as artists to
Express yourself.
express ourselves, and also to maybe tweak what's there to make it look a little bit like we're filtering it through. So, and then I have my assemblage piece. These are fairly new for me. That guy particularly, he's I call him Lucky Mac, or Captain Mac Cap, because he's got a lot of caps in him there. But he was made with an oil can that I got from my dear buddy Brenda Roper of Roper's Jewelers. Her father-in-law had lots of car stuff.
He
Old
could be a
cans.
football player, number 13.
He could be on any sort of sports team
There
at
you
all.
go.
Yeah.
And I love your little guys, because I have one too. I have the one
Right.
walking the dog, which I love.
We traded,
love.
and
That's
I
right.
have some rings that you especially made for me, and also here's a J piece here, bracelets.
Oh, lovely.
These I wear them all the time, so they're a little different finish. I'm wondering if I should polish them or not. Yeah,
Whatever you want, I
yes.
can help you with that.
But,
You know people.
Yeah.
But I love your little guys. Yeah,
yeah,
they have
thank
so
you.
much personality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I also do block printing, and that's a lot of fun. And I teach that to kids, and it's just magic when you do something frontwards and it ends up backwards. And they ask how they can change the color. And I said, it's the ink. It's amazing, something they don't, and then you change the paper in the background, and it's a different color. I said, no, the paper's a different color. So teaching is a lot of fun for me as well. So.
Well, and I'll talk briefly about the art that I have here today. Like Sonia, I haven't been to Europe many, many times, but my family went to Europe this summer, and I was just enthralled with the visual splendor of things there.
Yeah.
And the first piece that's being looked at right here is a lavender field in the south of France with one of those lovely old buildings. All of the buildings in Europe are just beckoning painting. I mean, they're just...
Yes, they do.
They're just fabulous. I just could look at them for hours. And
So this was June.
so this was in June, yes.
That's when the lavender comes out.
That's when the lavender comes out, yes. And then the next one that's being looked at is in Venice, and probably obviously, but again, I love water. As you mentioned, you love water. I love reflection of light on water, and just loved Venice. I mean, it was, yes, in the height of summer, a lot of people and a lot of things being sold, but it was still really rich to me in terms of visual things to want to paint. And then the last one that I have here today is also from Europe, and it's also the south of France, and it's the village we stayed right outside of called Bonnieux, and it's this lovely little hilltop village with all these crazy old medieval buildings and church spires and steeples, and everywhere you look, you're like, how could there be another picturesque, gorgeous town? They're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
And so I, like Patty mentioned, likes to boost color. This one's maybe not the best example of that, but I definitely like to enhance the colors that I see because I like things to be dramatic and vibrant and have contrast, and that's just what excites me. So I'm a younger experienced artist, I should say, in terms of some of the others here today. I've only been doing art for about 3 years. My mother was an artist, and so I think by osmosis I got a lot of it. But I was in performing arts for years, and that was what I did. I went to acting school, and now I sing. That's my other performing thing that I do. But it's so great to be here with everybody, and not to let too much time pass, I actually just want to mention the dates of the tour, and then we'll keep talking about other things. But the Placer Art Studio Tour is November 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have 77 artists in 40 locations. We also have a lot of exciting events surrounding the studio tours, one of them being the Taste of the Tour preview show, which is a great place to go if you're planning on going to the tour. You want to go and take a look at a piece representing each of the artists on the tour.
It's a fun show to be at. It really gives a wonderful flavor, and you can have dinner out at the town. I already have my reservations for dinner before we go to the show. It's going to be lovely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you go, you bring your little guide, or you get your guidebook there, and you look at each one of the artists, and you kind of plan your tour. So it's a really wonderful opportunity. I would like to focus now, though, on some of the art we have here from other artists, and even Jay. I have the opportunity to wear this lovely bracelet made by Jay. And also, I am wearing a fabulous felted fiber tunic from Jeannie Kaiser. She is one of the artists on the tour, and I was just so enthralled. I'm going to stand up briefly. I know it's kind of iffy to do that here, but I just wanted to show the tunic. I think it's amazing, and the scarf is amazing. And Jeannie is showing with Anne Hendrickson Pantos, and also with Heidi Temko, and they are located in Penryn. Anne Hendrickson Pantos does a lot of rusty art and different interesting sculptures, and Heidi Temko is a stone sculptress. But
Gia, you have a beautiful pendant
oh
on,
my
too.
goodness, see, I couldn't even see it, and I certainly do not want to omit that as I touch the microphone. Bad. So this pendant and these earrings are by the very talented Kathy Klein, who is located at the General Gomez Art and Event Center. She does, oh boy, vitreous enamel. And so it's a glass-looking enamel. She also is a silversmith and a goldsmith, so she does many different things, but her art is beautiful. She's downstairs at the Gomez Arts and Event Center, so be sure and go downstairs and see her.
And we have some brand new first-timers, which we always do on the tour. And so we're fortunate enough to have Gary Lord, who is doing this beautiful ceramics. And he is out in the, over when you go to Nicholson's Glass and Jennifer Johnson's, or Jennifer Riley's now. And so he's beautiful work. And showing at my studio is batik artist Marilyn Solomon, and then jewelry, beaded jewelry with Cliff Solomon, and also some more jewelry.
Before you go there, why don't you say exactly where your studio is?
We're in Weimar, and I'm number 1 on the map. So I
it's
know
hard
it's so
to
fun.
run.
I know it's so fun. So right there, you'll see number 1 on the map, and then also some jewelry. There are so many great jewelers on the tour. So here we go. We have Doug Horton and Kermit McCourt, which are showing at the same location, and his jewelry is just a pleasure. So I hope that you'll get around as much as you possibly can and see, get your guide and see some really cool artists. And there's some more too.
I'd like to ask you about that gorgeous scarf you're wearing.
Well, this wearable art just happened to be done by myself. This is one of my silk scarves, and what I like about this particular scarf is it shimmers because it's like a two-tone. So on this I designed bamboo, and both ends of the scarf are portrayed as bamboo grows from the ground up. And I use some resist, which is clear and also gold. So I have a little bit of glam in that as well. And I'd like to talk about a couple of the artists too that I particularly like. One is they're photographers. They're the Larsons, and they are off Highway 49 on Overhill Drive. They go to Africa frequently, and I heard recently, and I hope it's true, that they've taken 47 trips to Africa. So that when they go there, they go on photo safaris and really do beautiful, beautiful photographs. And they are the hosts of the Prism auction that we will be talking about.
Yes, in fact, let's just talk about that right now. So you brought a piece of art that is with us today that is going to be part of that auction. Tell us a little bit about that Prism fundraiser.
Well, the fundraiser is going to be at their barn, which is a wonderful place in the first place. But they have a sizable barn, and it really isn't a barn, no animals. But they're going to have many artists represented, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional art. The painting that I am donating for that is this one, and it is actually Cisco Grove. I love Cisco Grove. It's so close. It is so rural. You can catch it in different seasons, and this is not my favorite. My favorite is in wintertime, but it's a beautiful place. We've taken grandchildren there to play in the water. However, that's Cisco Grove, and that's going to be at the auction at the Larson's barn.
And when is the auction?
It's going to be the first day of the studio tour, which is Friday, November 11th. And the auction begins at 5 o'clock, and you need to contact Placer Arts, who is going to be the recipient of the benefits of the auction.
Excellent.
And it's a good thing to do because we need to support the arts, and this is a great way. And you'll get wonderful art there.
Yeah, I have a large sculpture that's going up too.
Good,
So,
excellent. That is
Patty
wonderful.
also.
And Patty as well.
An Oil of No Hands bridge,
Wonderful.
popular local subject.
Well,
Happy to donate it to help support
Yeah.
the organization that supports all of us.
Yeah, and speaking of that, this is really a very art-rich area, as Sonia mentioned, who came from the Bay Area.
Yes.
She feels that Auburn is really this cornucopia of art things happening. There is a lot happening in our community besides the Placer Arts Studio Tour. We've got also some public art that that we participated in, and we've got some utility boxes painted all over Auburn. Patty, you've done one of those.
Yes, it's a great way for us to share our art with the community, and the community to become more aware of art and to make note of their surroundings. And I was in the first phase, you were in the second phase. I think we're up to 18 or so utility boxes now. It was sponsored by the Auburn Arts Commission. And they're a very active group that's linked to the city, whereas the Arts Council is a more statewide program. I think that there are different arts councils in different towns, but a lot going on. These organizations work together and they work separately to make Auburn a richer place to live. And I have seen it grow over the years that I've been in town. And people become more aware of art, and they are drawn into participating in art. The Arts Commission sponsored the chalk on the sidewalk in front of City Hall, and that was very well received. That was during
And the
last
wall,
art walk.
the new wall and the new art park.
Katie Fries and her family put in countless hours doing that, and that's something for us all to enjoy on our way up to the community garden. And the new little park that is down there, what's the name of it? School Park Preserve. Beautiful little spot. Great spot to go and paint. Nice little views of the courthouse through the oak trees. And so we're very lucky.
We are lucky. And I'm sorry we're running out of time. I would love to talk about more public art. But Patty, if you would tell us what stop you are on the tour and where you're located.
Okay, I'm in the Bowman area. I'm number 22 on the tour. I have my own studio just off Bowman Road on Old Airport, and a nice rustic place and a lot of fun.
Rustic place.
I didn't know this was back here. So it's a really nice area, and we have some old stone homes back there, and one of them is mine. So. People enjoy that. Also up Carriage Lane, just it's on the other side of Bell Road. We have a glass artist, Doreen Wood.
No.
Diane Wood. She does beautiful kiln form glass, and the Nicholsons also, but they do blown glass. So
Wonderful.
A lot of good art.
Wonderful.
Glass artists.
And Sonia, where are you located?
I'm number 20 on the map, and I'm in North Auburn in Christian Valley. And my studio is separate from the house, and it's a nice, big, clean, now full of cluttered but stuff. And I will have my book available for the people. This is a reference book for watercolor, particularly, but any artist can learn from it. It's a compilation of 40 years plus of teaching, and on the flap is one of my a picture of me with one of my paintings at Yosemite.
Lovely.
So this is kind of a good thing.
So
wonderful. Here it is.
Wonderful. And I'll just mention that I am at the Newcastle Packing Shed Studios and Gallery, and there are several artists there. My partner, Rick Watson, is also on the tour. And just to plug a couple of other things before we close, once again, the Studios Tour, November 11th, 12th, and 13th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we do look forward to seeing you. Go to placerarts.org for more information. Thank you so much, Jay, Sonia, and Patty.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite you to join us for the 23rd Annual Placer Arts Studios Tour coming up November 11th through 13th. 77 artists in 40 locations from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The artists will be in their workshops or other areas in studios showcasing their work and demonstrating what they do. We have artists doing visual arts, painting, ceramics, photography, woodwork, and much, much more. We invite you to join us, again, November 11th through 13th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and hopefully you'll find some pieces to take home with you.